When you think of North Korea, your mind probably goes to Kim Jong Un, nuclear weapons famine, and maybe even Han Kwang-song.
We do not care.
Though he's not likely the first thing you think of. Han Kwang-song was once a North Korean football prodigy, rumored to be on the radar of big clubs like Liverpool and Juventus. Okay, maybe not top of mind when it comes to North Korea, but Han had real talent. He was touted as one of the rising stars in football and was seen as a key player for North Korea's national team. But after some controversies, Han Kwang-song seemingly vanished from the spotlight, and for a long time, no one knew what happened to him. So, who is Han Kwang-song, and what became of his once promising career? Before we dive into his story, it's worth mentioning that North Korea does have some football history. They actually qualified for the 1966 World Cup after defeating Australia in the qualifying matches. Once in the tournament, they found themselves in a group with the USSR, Italy, and Chile. Talk about a tough group. North Korea's tournament didn't start well. They lost their first game to the Soviets, and then drew 1-1 with Chile. This left them needing a win against Italy, and guess what? They shocked the world by beating Italy 1-0, knocking them out of the tournament. You'd think Italy would be humiliated by that defeat and would want nothing to do with North Korea, but actually, the opposite happened. The Italians became quite friendly and respectful toward North Korean football, even building a business relationship. I'll get to that soon, I promise. But let's return to Han Kwang-song for now. Han was born on September 11th, 1998, quite a date, in Pyongyang, North Korea, to a working-class family. From a young age, Han showed a passion for football, which led him to enroll at the Pyongyang International Football School, a youth academy supported by the North Korean government that trains about 200 kids annually, all dreaming of becoming professional footballers. I know what you're thinking. North Korea, a country so secretive and controversial with a football academy? It does sound surprising, but it's true. But the school wasn't just about training young players within North Korea. It aimed to give its students opportunities to train abroad as well. The North Korean U16 national team, which was connected to the school, had a chance to travel to Barcelona in the fall of 2013 to train at the Marset Academy. Among the talented group of young players, Han Kwang-song stood out as the biggest talent. The team's time at the academy would last about a year, just until the AFC U16 championships in Thailand, where the North Korean U16 squad competed. In that tournament, North Korea made history. They progressed through the group stage with 2 wins and 1 draw, with Han Kwang-song scoring in every group stage match. They then defeated Iran in the quarterfinals and repeated the feat against Australia in the semifinals, both times winning on penalties. This set the stage for an intense final against their political and regional rivals, South Korea. But surprisingly, North Korea got the better of South Korea in the final, winning 2-1, with Han Kwang-song scoring a crucial goal to secure the AFC U16 championship for North Korea. This victory clearly showed that whatever the North Korean government was doing, like sending their young players to train in Europe, was paying off. It's important to note that Han Kwang-song was the standout star of the North Korean team, scoring 4 goals in 6 matches. Recognizing that it wouldn't benefit Han or the other young North Korean players to return home, instead of continuing their development in Europe, the government sought another academy abroad to take them in. And this is where Italy comes into the picture. As I mentioned earlier, North Korea and Italy had maintained a good relationship since the 1966 World Cup. Mauro Costarella, the head of the ISM Academy in Italy, agreed to bring the players over, and this was made possible thanks to the strong ties between the two countries. Interestingly, Italian politician Antonio Razzi had become friends with Kim Jong Un. Razzi even spent 5 days touring North Korea, which is not something just anyone can do without being on good terms with the country's leader. Han Kwang-song and a few other talented North Korean players were granted educational visas to come to Italy, where they had the opportunity opportunity to be scouted by European clubs. This golden opportunity was, of course, given to the best North Korean talents, and Han Kwang-song stood out as the most promising among them. He didn't let this chance slip by. However, there was a problem. FIFA regulations on underage players prevented Han from signing with a European club until he turned 18. So, during his time at the academy, all he could do was train and get acclimated to Italian culture and language. But once he turned 18, European clubs were all over him, including the likes of Manchester City, Juventus, and especially Liverpool. Liverpool were so keen to sign Han Kwang-song that they sent Barry Hunter, the chief scout, to meet with him and try to convince him to join the club. During the meeting, Hunter even tried to sweeten the deal by telling Han he could meet Steven Gerrard. The problem: Han Kwang-song had no idea who Steven Gerrard was. So, did Han Kwang-song end up signing with Liverpool and meeting Stevie G? No. Instead, he took the advice of his agent, Sandro Stemperini, and ISM Academy sporting director Stefano Camplelli to stay in Italy. He accepted an 8-week trial offer from Cagliari, where he excelled. On March 10, 2017, Han signed his first professional contract, becoming the first North Korean and Asian player to play for Cagliari. However, he wasn't the first North Korean to sign for a Serie A club, as Choi Song-hyuk had joined Fiorentina a year earlier. In hindsight, it's probably a good thing Liverpool didn't sign Han Kwang-song. The UK government and the FA would likely have faced complications due to sanctions against North Korea. One major issue would have been the difficulty in tracking where Han's earnings would go, with the possibility of the money being funneled back to Kim Jong Un. However, since Italy had a friendlier relationship with North Korea, Han was able to sign with Cagliari despite the controversies. Han was initially set to start with Cagliari's youth team, but on his very first day at the club, he scored a hat-trick during a friendly training match. This performance impressed the coaching staff so much that they decided to promote him to the first team. Han made his full Serie A debut on April 2nd, playing the final 4 minutes in a 3-1 victory over Palermo, becoming the first North Korean player to feature in Serie A. Just a week later, in only his second appearance for Cagliari, Han scored his first goal for the club, netting a late consolation goal past Joe Hart in a 3-2 away defeat to Torino. This made him the first North Korean to score in Serie A. With these impressive showings, Han was rewarded with a new contract that would keep him at Cagliari until 2022. However, at just 18 years old, Han made an immediate impact at Perugia, scoring a hat-trick on his Serie B debut in a 5-1 victory over Virtus and Tela. During the 2017-18 season, before being recalled by Cagliari in February, Han scored 7 goals in 17 league matches. Unfortunately, a knee injury that required surgery sidelined him for a significant part of the season. However, marketing Han Kwang-song turned out to be a challenge for Perugia's club president. North Korea placed heavy restrictions on what Han was allowed to do. In fact, just before Han was scheduled to appear on Array's La Domenica Sportiva program one weekend, Santo Padre received a call from a North Korean representative forbidding Han from making any public TV appearances, both now and in the future. North Korea even threatened to deport Han back to the country if these rules were broken. At just 19 years old, Han was under strict control by his home government, and the only way Perugia could market him was through his performances on the pitch. Meanwhile, North Korea continued to make headlines for controversial reasons, including nuclear testing, which raised questions about where Han's earnings were going. Despite the controversies, Juventus didn't seem to care.
We do not care.
In September 2019, Han secured a deadline day move to Juventus on a 2-year loan deal from Cagliari. Often dubbed the North Korean Ronaldo, Han seemed to be on the verge of playing alongside the real Ronaldo at Juventus. The stars appeared to be aligning, or so it seemed. Unfortunately, Han never got the chance to play with the Juventus first team. Instead, he spent his time playing for the Juventus under-23 team in Serie C, where he managed just 1 goal and 2 assists in 20 games. Despite this, Han often trained with the Juventus senior team. He was even called up to the bench twice for Serie A matches, making him the first North Korean player to be named to Juventus's senior squad. There were rumors circulating that Han's lack of appearances for Juventus in Serie A was due to political reasons, rather than footballing ability. What is undeniable, however, is that Han Kwang-song's performances in Serie C weren't outstanding. Yet, Juventus remained convinced of his potential and made an early move to buy him from Cagliari for €3.5 million on January 2, 2020. Unfortunately, instead of marking the beginning of a promising career, this turned out to be the start of Han's decline. Just 6 days after Juventus acquired the North Korean forward, they sold him to Qatari club Al Dohal for €7 million. So, what led to this swift change? On December 17, 2017, the United Nations mandated that all member states, including Italy, must repatriate all North Koreans working in their countries within 24 months. Han couldn't remain at Juventus, likely prompting the club to activate the buy clause early so they could sell him. For a while, things seemed to be going well, while with Al Duhail, he showcased his remarkable talent, playing a key role in helping the team win the Qatar Stars League. The celebrations with his teammates would be the last we'd hear from him. Al Duhail ultimately had to terminate his contract due to his inability to be selected for matches. From September 2020 onward, Han effectively vanished from the public eye. Mauro Costarella, the head of the ISM Academy, mentioned that he had spoken to Han a few times and noted that Han was open to playing anywhere, even in Malaysia, where he had been in talks with a club. You might think that Han could still play for the North Korean national team, and you'd be correct. But when COVID-19 hit, North Korea withdrew from all competitions and qualifying matches, effectively sidelining Han from international play, which contributed to his disappearance. After 3 years of silence, Han finally re-emerged as North Korea resumed international football, participating in the qualifying matches for the 2026 World Cup in the United States. Back to the topic. Han reappeared, starting in a 1-0 loss against Syria, wearing the number 10 and playing as a left winger in a 6-1 victory over Myanmar, proving that he still has the skills despite his time away from the spotlight. It's unlikely he spent those years idly. He was probably playing in the North Korean Premier Football League, the country's top division. These matches aren't televised, so we can't confirm this, but there are rumors online suggesting he signed with April 25th Sports Club, the most successful club in North Korea. Still, there's no official source to back this up. It's now widely acknowledged that due to the political controversies surrounding North Korea and its nuclear testing, Han Kwang-song hasn't been able to realize his dreams of becoming a top footballer in Europe. This unfortunate situation is a result of the sanctions imposed on his country. Han Kwang-song will likely be remembered as a talented player who could have been great, but at least we know he's still alive and actively playing football, whether for April 25th or the North Korean national team. At just 24 years old, he still has a lot to offer the sport, and I'm confident he will continue to make an impact for his country